Hello and welcome to the FQ show, episode number 3. I'm joined here today by Tash Wheeler and Dave Da Silva. We're here to talk about the leagues across the state and also preview the NPL women's competition, which starts this weekend. How are we, guys?
Good, thanks. Thanks for having us.
No worries. Dave, you join us as QAS sort of coach mentor and head of sort of coaching methodology. What's your sort of role in the QAS and just describe that for the viewers a bit?
I guess it's probably trying to bring back potentially some of the experiences we had in the past and just increase the challenge in the groups. We've mixed it up a bit. There's no more age groups. It's just a program approach. So we can challenge players based on where they're performing in that moment, pulling them back when they've got other commitments, and then challenging them when they're in a space where they can be challenged. So it's exciting to see the program evolving, and there's a lot of wonderful coaches in there to be working with.
Yeah, fantastic. And you're obviously in that program, the NTC QAS program back from 2016 to 2019. Won the title with the girl, won the championship, with the team in 2018 with some fantastic names, the Fryer girls, Anna McGrath, Winnie Heatley, to name just a few. How were those experiences back then, and is that what you're trying to kind of bring back the QAS this year?
Brilliant experience. I think Indy Riley in there as well as another one, Jamila Rankin.
Yep.
Different program and different time. I think the relationship that we had with Mel at that time, being the W League coach, we were very close, and it was a different program. So it's a different time, but hopefully we can apply some of those learnings to a new context with new players, but not trying to create things that have been done in the past. I think the league's stronger, and we need to be better than even they were. If the league, if the league's going to challenge these girls the way we need them to be challenged, so that they can go beyond NPL ideally.
Yep. I'm joined here by Tash as well, who'll be joining with her FQ hat on, co-hosting this show throughout the course of the year. Excited to have you on, and looking forward to the insights you'll be able to give us from a women's space. A big defender, a big presence at the back for Capalaba there. Unfortunately, they're not this season.
Nah, unfortunately, did my knee in this pre-season, so best I can do is be around the game. So happy to be aboard.
So getting involved with the girls at training still, and sort of injecting that insight there and guiding the youth that you've signed this year.
Yeah, for sure. Long-term injuries are always so tough. You're away from the sport that you love. So being around the team is helping them how I can. 23s, helping them, and also the team. There's going to be tough times throughout the season, and just being around them helps me as a player, and anyone who's had a long-term injury understands that as well. So isolating yourself doesn't help anyone. So, doing what you can, and they pick you up just as much as you pick them up. So that's good.
Absolutely, yeah. And keeping that good culture out there that you've got at the Doggies as well, which is...
For sure, there's heaps of girls there that are there for the culture. And I think that's what you need to build. And then from there, football comes.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're going to get into the league stuff around the state at the moment. So a big weekend across the NPL and the FQPL men's. Big moment. Knights and Olympic both kept their winning runs. Fantastic starts to their season. They're both 3 from 3. Tash, any comments on those games?
Both Knights and Olympic had a slow start, in my opinion. But they're strong sides, so getting the wins is what strong sides do. So both of them had heaps of opportunities to score more goals as well. So and the other teams that they versed also did well to hold them out and give them a good competition, especially
both come from behind victories. And Zach Kearpool, a Moreton Bay product, he up against his former side, now playing for Olympic. A bit of a muted celebration, you noted.
Yeah, absolutely, it was. I think Moreton Bay's production line continues, and they're going to provide more opportunities for young players. So it's great to see Zachy, push on to one of those clubs that are a genuine title contender. I think Zachy's going to contribute to Olympics push this year. I think they've been unlucky in the last few years, and I love watching Olympic play.
Yeah.
They're one of the teams that actually are really structured, organised. I love watching teams with the intent to play, and they bring that every week. And I think with his firepower and youth, they're a genuine chance this year for sure. It's disappointing that he left Moreton Bay with the Moreton Bay hat on from previous years. Yeah. But they're a production line out there. They do a great job of youth development. They know their place in the pyramid, and they continue to develop wonderful young strikers, and I'm sure the next one's on the way.
Absolutely. A couple of other big results for both Peninsula Power and Lions this weekend, and also Brisbane Royal Youth, so a couple of really big score lines across those games. Hat-trick to Alex Fechner and a double to Andy Pengelly as well, so that was big results there. In the FQPL 1 men's, the big moments for me, 3 come from behind victories to Caboolture, Brisbane Strikers, and also Western Pride, late winners against each team there, yeah. So Caboolture was a surprising result, you were saying earlier before, Tash, against Rochdale.
Yeah, I thought with the signings Rochdale had over the off-season that they were going to come out with a victory there. So not disregarding Caboolture at all, but that's just my personal thoughts on that one. Dave?
Oh, look, I think Caboolture's a powerhouse and a real threat to go through into the NPL the next season. Terry's a good coach, great recruiter. Yeah, he knows what he wants, and I think he's got a good group out there to really push in that space. I think it's going to be tight in that area with Strikers, Caboolture. I think even Thunder, they're showing a bit as well in that space. So I think, Rochdale are going to be pushing it, I reckon, with the quality around, and dropping points in that game's going to be hard to catch up.
For sure. Do you think Cameron leaving Caboolture has any impact on Caboolture's season? Or?
Oh, he's a quality player.
Yeah.
I think anytime you lose a player like that, you're going to be struggling to replace him for like. But I think Terry's a good operator, and I'm sure he's got a few tricks up his sleeve.
A fantastic opportunity for Cam. He actually heads over to Norway into the second division over there for Stronholm IF, that team that just got relegated from last year, and they're coached by an Australian who's looking to get them back up. So I believe he's done some work. The name escapes me, but yeah, they strong push. He wanted a player who can really hold that number 6 position down in midfield, and Cam was a great person for that. He was very solid in the midfield there. And Terry Kirkham was getting the best out of him. It was a very intentful signing when he pulled him from Peninsula Power for the project that he was having at Caboolture. Fantastic that Cam is being given an opportunity that he himself said that he didn't think he'd get at this stage in the career. But from us at FQ, we'd like to wish Cam all the best in his future endeavours there. I'm excited to see how he gets on. So that'll be fantastic. And Western Pride, fairly decent late winner against Sunny Coast there. So
benefit from the red card, but definitely. But well done to Pride. It's important. Win's a win.
Yep, absolutely. In the FQPL 2, I feel like we're saying this in the last couple of weeks, both Service Paradise and Albany Creek recorded some big wins, kept their perfect starts alive as well. So Albany Creek got up over Virginia, who had a pretty strong start already to the season. And then Surfers got up over former FQPL 1 side, Wynnum Wolves. So fantastic result there. Teddy Watson, the striker up top for Service Paradise, actually scored 4 that game. He leads the Golden Boot tally in that competition with 6 goals from 3 games. So
someone you want in your team.
Absolutely, man's on fire. Man's on fire.
2-horse race.
Yeah,
I think that league. Yeah, I'll call it now.
Yeah.
I see Glenn Volkers still with Grange. He probably won't like me hearing that after winning the grand final last year. But, sorry, Glenn. But I think that's a 2-horse race. It's just which one's going to go up.
Yeah. We'll cover on their Australia Cup run a little bit later, but both actually got some humbling defeats. Humbling is probably a bit too harsh there, but both had some tough defeats against 2 very strong NPL sides. But we'll cover that more a little bit later. Moving on, I actually got this a little bit wrong last week. I said the FQPL 1 women's had a round, but with all these fixture changes and the washouts and stuff, I got that a little wrong. But so they didn't actually play this weekend. But the FQPL 2 women's did. And again, a lot of fairly big results across that competition. Still pretty early days though. So we'll start to sort of see that sort of even out a little bit as the season progresses, I feel. So moving on to the round previews and sort of looking to the weekend ahead. Obviously the NPL women's starts this weekend. We'll cover those games in a little bit more detail a bit further on. But across the NPL men's this week, both Sunny Coast Wanderers and Gold Coast Knights go head-to-head, 2 teams with very good starts. and Peninsula Power and Brisbane Raw, two teams who are looking for that sort of opening part of the season momentum with 2 wins on the weekend. So out of those 2 games, what takes you right there?
Yeah, definitely the pick of the week. I think Knights are a quality outfit. I think they're going to be tough to beat up there. I know it's a bit of a travel for them, and I know Wanderers are doing well and recruiting well as well, but I think Knights are, they're very strong.
Yeah. Sunny Coast Wanderers started their season quite well against Peninsula Power, used the field to their advantage, used, I suppose more defensive and sort of longer ball sort of tactics, but against the Peninsula Power side, I wanted to try and play and just sort of caught them late in the game. Be interesting to see how they go this week against the Knights side, who again likes to, move the ball around. They've got a lot of creative players, so it'd be interesting to see how they, go up against tactically in that game.
Yeah, I mean, going up on a Sunday afternoon is always tough too after a long weekend, so we'll see how that game goes, but it is one to watch.
Yeah. Also as well, Peninsula Power hosting the Brisbane Raw. Both got wins on the big wins on the weekend to sort of kickstart their season after a bit of a rough start. And Moreton Bay and Brisbane City, a bit of a sort of local derby there, Dave.
Yeah, I think so. And just where they're both positioned on the table, I think it's going to be a critical game for both teams to really get their season going, like Penny Power and the Raw previously discussed. It'll be exciting. There's always a bit of passion in that one. No one likes to give an inch. Get out to Walter Park if you can see that one.
Yes, that'll be an absolute cracker as well. Moving on to the FQPL1 men's, Caboolture have another tough test, this time against former NPL side Redlands United at Caboolture Sports Park though, so that'll be a good test for Terry and the boys. Sunny Coast Fire host South West Queensland Thunder in another long travel day as well on Sunday again. So
it's a big day at the coast on Sunday. You want to be up there.
Absolutely, got to a couple of good cracking games there. Thunder have started their season well, sitting in 2nd place at the moment. Again, and Sunny Coast probably, they conceded that late, one to go behind against Western Pride, so could have taken a point from that match. But it'd be interesting to see how they go hosting that game against the Thunder side out to be promoted. So
definitely, I think those 2 games, Caboolture and Thunder, have to win to keep up with Strikers. I can't see Strikers losing this weekend, so they've got to match it with them until they play each other. Yeah,
they're Strikers playing Southside Eagles, so now that the FQPL1 Women's is actually getting played this weekend, silly me, Peninsula Power are hosting South West Queensland Thunder, 2nd and 3rd respectively on the table. Tash, what are your thoughts on that one?
Oh, it'll be a good game. I mean, Power's recruited well in the off-season, and Thunder, it's a good test for them being in FQPL1.
Alex Smith doing fantastic things at Peninsula Power, had two strong wins, both 1-0 wins, but I feel like he'll be able to grind out results and that sort of stuff this season, even though they've recruited well. But yeah,
definitely. I think they're definitely one of the teams that's really keen to get up next season. I think there's only a couple clubs in that group who are going to be vying for that one position to go up, but we'll see.
And then in the FQPL2 men's, Grange Thistle host Taringa Rovers on Saturday. That was actually a semi-final rematch from last year. So both teams, ironically, sort of struggling, even though they were top 4 teams last year. So both 9th and 11th on the ladder, respectively, unfortunately for them. Holland Park and Wynnum Wolves also go up against each other. A bit of a sort of local-ish sort of derby there. Both got relegated last year from the FQPL1, so it'd be interesting to see that result and how they get on there. And then in the FQPL2 women's, the feature match there will be Taringa Rovers against Grange Thistle. Bit of a sort of reverse fixture from the men's counterpart there. So, two teams. One's off to a fairly reasonable start, the other not so much. But hopefully they can turn things around and get things underway. So, all right. Now the main reason we've got you on board, Dave. Obviously you coached at Moreton Bay last year. The big season for the Lions though, winning the treble. Shake Honours getting both Player of the Season and the Golden Boot awards. What were your takes from the season from Moreton Bay side that started off very well and then towards the back end of the season sort of struggled, but injuries and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, it was a great opportunity to take on the club where it was at. It was a rebuild, So we're quite clear about what we're trying to achieve, and it's to set a framework at Moreton Bay for junior players to come through and represent the club. They're very clear at the club what they're about. They're a great junior development club, and they want to give opportunities to their juniors as they progress. So that was very clear what the mandate was, but they had to obviously stay up. So I felt we were able to recruit a lot of ex-Moreton Bay players to come back to the club, convince them why they were there originally. But like you said, the injuries really affected, I guess, the end of the season and really stopped us pushing anywhere beyond just being happy with qualifying. And I think even this season there's a bit of a flow-on effect from those injuries because they were such significant injuries that, it's going to take them some time this year to pick up, but I think they will as the season progresses.
Yeah, and it was like both Fryer girls. There was Flo McIntyre. There was, who else?
There
were a few others as well.
So many
Jess
missing
Dillon as
bodies.
well.
Yeah, Jess Dillon was out for pretty much the end of the season as well. I think a fully fit squad, I think, would have challenged the top four last season. It just wasn't panned out that way, which is unfortunate.
I mean, it's a tough, long season as well. We had 3 COVID lockdowns in that time. Coming back after those is always tough. Plus injuries, that's where a big, good squad comes into play, and that's what Lions does well. They can rely on their 23s and their base of squad, which is why they probably came away with all 3 wins. So. Yeah,
and you talk about a big season. It was actually a 17-team comp at the start of the year. It was the NPL Women's, and then the top 7 plus QAS is what it was. Was what it was there. Yep. Formed the NPL Women's, and then we had the formation of the FQPL1 Women's. So then they had to play that league again. So it was an absolutely massive year for all those teams. Really, they had games around the clock. So I know you had to go up to Toowoomba, cram in a midweek game to get that played before that.
Yeah, that's right, before that window closed.
Yeah,
it was a real challenge, and I think it put a lot of stress on clubs and players. And it was an interesting time because the results were a bit all over the place for a bit too. So it was a bit hit and miss some weeks, and you were surprised with some results. We were probably fortunate we started so well. So we kind of fell over the line at Moreton Bay last season, but in all honesty...
A win's a win, a line's a line.
100%. It was a bit like that, but that was the challenge of the club, is to get up. They achieved all the challenges that were set forth, but it was very difficult to manage.
And really overcame quite a poor 2020. That team sort of really struggled. It was a very sort of youthful team, and so when you took over, you had a big task on your hands. So... that was I'd actually look at that as a fantastic achievement for Moreton Bay, to be honest. So
everyone at the club was very happy with what was achieved, and now there's an opportunity to build on that. The wonderful juniors of the club can now step up and go into their 23s and support the senior set up. So I'm confident that the club will move on in the women's space from here and be very similar to the men, a good, solid mid-table team that's going to produce players for many years to come.
Yeah. Fantastic. And Tash, you obviously played in the final. I thought you had a brilliant game when you, on the park there, commanding at the back. It was good to see. But Capalaba sort of had Lions under the pump for quite a lot of that game, about sort of 60 minutes, and then sort of after that, the legs sort of wore off a little bit for Capalaba, and Lions just kind of sort of ran away with it a little bit towards the end. Bit of a scary game as well. Not scary, but interesting game with the weather. If it wasn't for the boss Rob, you're getting out on the brooms and cleaning up the field. Insert segment here. That game would have sort of finished at all really. So
thanks for everyone's help with the brooms on the field there. But definitely a tough match. It's always going to be a tough match against Lions. They came away with the wins for a reason because they're a tough team. But the weather, having mugginess at the beginning, rain and then hail, and then cooling down and having to re-warm up. It's always tough to do that, but credit to Lions for coming out of the sheds. They wanted it more at the end of the day and took their chances, so good for them.
Yeah, a fantastic season by Shay Connors, Golden Boot and Player of the Year. She was just hard to stop. What was it like marking her?
She had great balls in from the team. So, all credit to Shay, but at the same time, the ball had to get to her for her to score those goals. But, when she's in front of goal, she's class finisher. So, well deserving.
Very good. So I'm just going to touch back on the promotion relegation sort of setup from last year. So Olympic were actually Western Pride, were actually at the top of the FQPL1 Women's Olympic, just behind by a couple of points. By the end of the year, Olympic managed to pit them at the end by 3 points and got up. So they are the promoted team for this year. I reckon we start the coverage on them, giving them the new team to the league and how they're shaping up for this season.
Yeah, Danny's done a good job last year getting him up. There was a bit of adversity there, and managed to get him up and done a good job. Clearly recruiting well during that. One of the QAS girls that's gone there, Lua, who I think was at Logan last year. Lua's a technically great player. In the Courier Mail today is one of those 26 players to keep an eye out. So make sure you get out there and have a look in the paper and see who's local to you and get out and check out a game. But I think, Olympic are going to be a top 4 contender. And once you're in that top 4 at the end of the season, who knows?
Yeah, they're definitely making their intents to be in the top 4 for not just their men's but also their women's known. They've made some fantastic signings already this season. They've got Nat Tatham back from the Raw. I think she was meant to play there last year, but obviously was ruled out due to injury. So she's come back for the Raw and been playing well for the Raw towards the back end of the A-League women's season. But so she'll be joining Danny Byrne there. Also, they've got Chantel Symes, the reserve goalkeeper from the Raw as well. So strengthening at the back, and they're bringing in a few other players as well, Tash.
Yeah, they've taken some players from Logan, which is good to strengthen their side. But it's good to see that the W League players are spreading themselves across the NPL women's clubs instead of just going to a couple of them, which is nice, strengthening the league as well. So
yeah, absolutely.
That's great.
Yeah, so and Christy New and Britt Lasek, those Logan girls as well.
So massive assets to their team.
Yeah. They were fantastic for Logan last year, probably two of their better players. So
definitely deserve to be in the NPL. So I'm excited to see how they go out this season and how they help Olympic get to top 4 or pushing for that. So, but yeah.
Yeah, well, they're going to have to get into that top 4. They'll be competing very much against one of their rivals, especially in the men's competition. But Lions FC, obviously a big powerhouse and everyone's rival. Everyone wants to beat Lions. But how do you think Lions are shaping up this season?
Front runner. Yeah. I think if you don't lose a game last year, then you deserve that. I think Rob will have recruited well. I know there's a bit of transition at the club, but both Robs are astute at what they do, and they recruit well, and they've got a great setup out there. And I think anyone who goes there expects to win and wants to win, more importantly. I think they're the benchmark. But I really hope, and I said that to Rob after the All-Stars game last year when we're packing up, I hope that they lose a game this year because it means the comp's more even and we're really going to start challenging players. I don't think it's great when a club wins, so not easily, respectfully, but when you do it that consistently, it means they're not being challenged well enough, and I think this year will really show that the league's stepped up again. Yeah. And I think the consequences of that being next A-League women's season, there should be a lot more Queenslanders playing in that A-League women's competition.
Touching that, there was so many Queenslanders across the A-League W women's, which is great. So that just shows how strong our competition is. But yeah, as you said, Lions ran away with it last year, and I think a lot of clubs are going to be coming back with wanting to beat them, and that's how they should go about it. And there has been a lot of movement for Lions, so maybe they might not be as strong initially while they're still gelling together, but only time will tell. And this weekend,
they've got a couple of big losses. They've obviously lost Shay. She's gone down to Arpia Leichhardt down in New South Wales, so a bit of a sea change for her, living out of Bondi there. They've also lost Izzy Shuttleworth to Moreton Bay. I think that's probably a fantastic signing for Moreton Bay.
Massive signing for the club. Massive.
Yeah. So she probably won't be pushing Coco as much as she was last year, but I feel that goalkeeper push last year between two very good goalkeepers really sort of put the pressure on each other to really kind of keep that clean sheet and not concede as many goals, which they didn't. So
it drove me nuts having two quality keepers at one club when respectfully to all the keepers out there, there wasn't 17 keepers of the standard of an NPL, so it was really frustrating to see one sitting on a bench each week. And so I think Bella's made the right move.
I'm sure they felt the same way. I mean, I'd be frustrated too as a player sitting on the bench when you have the capabilities to be in the starting 11, and both of them do. So, both being a part of W League A-League W team. Just shows that.
Yeah. And Izzy's so young. She's 19 years old. Like she's, and already she's had some fantastic performances for the Queensland side in both years. Saved the penalty in that game against New South Wales. That was unreal. And she's so animated and so passionate in everything she does. So it'd be fantastic to see her bring that to Moreton Bay as well, like a bit of a fresh start for her. So I'm looking forward to how she can
She won the 23s grand final against QAS last season, like single-handedly, in my opinion. Yeah. Lions will probably have a different idea on that, but some of the saves she made in that game, only a player who plays A-League Women's makes those saves. So, she showed a class in that game, and that's why I think Lions won that 23 grand final. Yeah,
absolutely. Lions have also recruited quite well. They've got Chelsea Blissett back, who played with them in the 2020 season. She's come on loan from Melbourne City. So she'll be running up and down the foot from the fullback, so running up and down the wing. They've also picked up Isha Norrie, who I reckon is one of the league's best players. So to replace Misa Westland in midfield, who had a cracking season last year, but that's a very good get. So what are your thoughts on Ish in that midfield?
She just strengthens that midfield even more. Her and Mario will have a field day, and I'm sure they'll love playing with each other again. Only time will tell. See how good.
I think the loss to them is Meg Price.
Yeah.
I think. She was
the working engine of the
100%,
midfield.
the one that does all the stuff that no one notices.
Yes.
And even in the All-Stars game, I thought she was one of the best on the park in that game.
Yep.
And that was her retirement game.
Yes.
So it'd be interesting to see Zara Kruger's the one that replaces Meg.
Yeah.
A good young player that's definitely on the radar.
Very young player, yes.
On the radar of national teams, hopefully. A lot of quality there in the young one. Plus, the rest of the brigade out there with Amy Dunstan and Danny Ward.
For sure.
Yeah, we haven't even talked about that core part of the team, have we? They've got some class there. Tegan Riding as well.
Yeah, that's right.
You
go on.
Yeah, you could. Yeah. But we'll go on to Tash and talk a bit about Capalaba. Obviously, came second last year. I just lost out to them in the final. They were without an important player in yourself, and also Georgie Worth, who has a couple of niggling injuries. Well, not niggling. She's had 2 surgeries to her knee and ankle recently. You've lost Steph Latham to City. Amy Chapman's called it time, unfortunately. How are you going sort of recruiting and replacing that this season? Yeah,
you'd say they're all big losses, but, the team has quite a lot of quality involved in it. We had five Raw girls and, some great additions, Billy Murphy, Amber Sims, in that team. So, they're still a really strong side, even with all those players leaving. We've also got Demi Jasmine from Virginia. She'll be a great addition to these squads as well.
Lainey McDonald's a good signing for you as well.
Yes, Lainey. Forgot about her, but no addition to the side, and she'll be great in our midfield. Strengthen that. Coming from Moreton Bay.
Yeah, definitely. It's a good recruit there, and I think that it's a wise decision for Lainey based on her travel. My experience with last season was that it was a good group of individuals that probably didn't gel always together. You still managed to get the results and grind them out, but I think that was more to do with the quality of the individuals on the park at times, whether that's fair or not. But I think it'd be interesting to see if they can gel together and really then, push those other teams in that top 4, and then hopefully can challenge Lions a bit more.
One of the surprise packets for last year was Souths. They had a fantastic year. Picked up Rika Tano from Gold Coast United. Great signing there, joining Katie Kissel and Amy Moreland in the midfield. So, Souths have picked up Bella Habuda as well this season. A fantastic get. And Bianca Warner, the FQPL1 Golden Glove or Goalkeeper of the Year. So how do you see Souths this year, Tash?
I think Bella's going to be a great addition to Souths. It'd be a great outlet for them to play in behind. She was class at Gold Coast United, so heading over to Souths, I think she'll gel well with some of the girls, the way she plays. So I'm interested to see how their season goes.
And joins back up with Rika Tano, who I reckon is fantastic. She's very good on the ball. She's a really class player. So we talked about culture before and the good culture there. I think they've also got a good culture at Souths. which
Yeah.
is evident in the women's results there. So
Gary's run a good program out of there for years, mate.
Yeah.
And he always seems to put a competitive team on the
Yeah,
park.
yeah.
You never know where they're coming from, but round one, they're always ready to go and they're always there and thereabouts. So yeah, they're a good operator out there, and I think you got to watch them.
Yeah, Bella obviously moving to South leaves a bit of a hole for Gold Coast United, and they've also Gold Coast United we touched on before has also lost East Norrie, so they came third last year. But how do you think that they're going to go this season?
Yeah, I think Momo's a huge inclusion for him.
Yeah.
One of my favourite players is Charlie Farmer.
She's a great.
I love
great.
that kid. Just the most creative, a little smiling assassin we used to call her when she was at QAS.
Yeah.
I think she's at an age now where she can tear the league apart. And again, she's one of those players that just appears in spots that on the ball in the final third, and you're like, wow, how'd she get there?
Yeah.
So I think, there's plenty of players at Gold Coast. They'll be top four as well.
Yeah.
They're always a physical team.
Yeah.
Losing Ish is a big thing, but Charlie will step up. Momo coming back in the midfield as well.
Yeah.
That will strengthen that as well. I feel like that hole that people might think there's there won't be there. Gold Coast are very physical, so it's always tough travelling down there to play. Plus, getting some signings from South as well. I feel like South and Gold Coast have kind of done a little switch there with some players.
Bronte Rose moving there this season.
Exactly, yeah.
Although formerly a sort of centre back at Souths there, but when you've already got Ellie Fryer, Jessie Rashard, and Momo in that sort of back line, where do you see Bronte?
Yeah, well, that's a good solid centre for them. Momo sitting as a 6 and Ellie and Jess as a centre backs, two very tall timbers up there. So, where does Bronte go? She can be attacking mid or up front, be an outlet up there. So she's got some pace. So that's where I think she'd be best suited. Yeah,
that'd be an interesting bit of a curveball to a few of the other teams, but that'd be good to see. We'll move down to sort of the more mid-table teams from last year. I'll sort of touch on QAS a little bit sort of last there, but the Moreton Bays, the Easts and the Sunny Coast Wanderers, and like how they both had a fantastic start to the last season, really sort of pushed up and earned their spot in this league. How do you see those three teams competing this year? And like, do you think any of them could push into that 4 and break that 4?
East. I think East have just been accumulating good players over it, and they just stay. Once they're there, they stay. They don't want to go anywhere. They don't want to hear from anyone. So I think they've just been growing over the last few seasons. I think Zoe's a quality player in there.
Yeah, Zoe Lambie. And Georgie Amos as well. Fantastic.
Yeah, I love watching. She just scores bombs every weekend for fun, eh?
Mate, that was a regular in the goals of the week. Last year it was which Georgie Amos goal is going in this week. It was fantastic.
Totally. So look, I think they're going to be very competitive. I think Sunny Coast, I don't know enough about their recruitment so far, but if they pick up 2 or 3 more, they are a very strong physical side, and no one wants to go up the Sunny Coast and play them on Sunday afternoon. So, I think they'll be thereabouts, and hopefully if Beck Horsley's back, because just such a lovely person, and just I think the centre of that team and the heart, and she's a great leader, and she'll push them on, I reckon. With Moreton Bay, they're still suffering a lot of injuries, like we said earlier, but hopefully they can all get back on the park, and I'd expect a really good run home towards the end of the season from them. Yeah,
that'd be fantastic. Yeah, both Fryer girls coming back from knee injuries. They both did their ACL, the twins.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Unreal.
It's rough.
But if they can recover well and come back in, it'd be exciting to see how they come through in the back half of this season, for sure.
Opposite years, I suppose. Last year it was strong at the beginning, and then this year's is going to be strong at the end. It'll be good to see, though.
Fantastic. And then onto the QAS and how they're performing this year, or going to perform this year. Obviously, you sort of oversaw the program. You came on board as Academy Director, the program director there. But had to take up a role as a audiology director.
Yeah, that's right. It's been a random one, hence the attire. Look, the program's gone through a bit of a transition, like we talked about earlier, but I think where it's landed in a good spot where players are going to challenge. So, if you're a good quality young player, there's a chance you can play NPLW this season. And I think that was one of the things that was missing. I think the preseason games that I've seen, it's hard to gauge because no one's really played a full strength team.
Yeah.
And with the weather wiping out a few weekends, it's a difficult one. Speaking to Adam after last night's training, he's quietly confident about the season, but I think he's aware the strength of the league is really up there. And I love his enthusiasm. I'm just hopeful that the girls can really weather that first 20 minutes of Storm and the physical battle. Yeah. And then I think they can show their quality as the games progress. So I'm looking forward to seeing how they play. They're going to play a little bit differently to last year. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that unfolds. Adam's definitely got a strategy in place and it makes sense to me. And he's a very good coach. So I've got no doubts they're going to play some wonderful football.
Yeah. QAS is always normally really strong towards the end of the season. That's because they're getting used to the physicality and they're progressing as players and they get their age strength with it. So yeah, it would be good to see how they start the season this year, especially with the new dynamic of, play well.
Play well, perform and get a pick.
I think as
really
you said,
important.
that's been something that QAS has struggled with, being a player, and it's easy to get complacent. If you're towards the end of the academy, who's pushing you? You're pushing everyone else, but who's pushing you? And if you're not pushing, then, where do you go from there?
That's right. I even think some of the players who've come back from the Raw experience, if they don't start where they're expected to start, they could be in for that shock as well. I don't think anyone's safe in that environment. I think every player should be on notice that if you're not performing, doesn't matter if you even played in the A-League women's season, you could be sitting on the bench and you could be playing the 23s. So the threat's real.
Obviously, this sort of forms the foundations for becoming into the young Matildas and becoming a Matilda. You sort of saw a few of the players last year, and who's your tip for who was a future Matilda, one to watch in that in that program for
I won't put
bit of extra motivation, maybe.
Yeah, I'm going to say a kid that's not in the program because I think this is the challenge that we want from the clubs, and I think some of the clubs have stepped up to the mark in the junior part and really allowing girls to play in their boys' NPL teams.
Yep.
And I think we'll see the benefits of that in the years ahead. But like I said earlier, Zara Kruger's a player at Lions who I'd expect to play a lot of minutes in the Lions team, even with that quality. And I think she's a smoky in the future. But I don't like putting those sort of things on players.
Yeah.
I think it's more at the moment about how they conduct themselves on and off the field to ensure that if they get their chance and they're lucky enough, that they can take it with both hands. But yeah, she's impressed me in what I've seen of her. And I think there's others, but I try not to label.
That's fair, yeah. Good stuff. Well, as the final part of this preview, I'd probably like maybe two hot takes, if you will, for what your thoughts on how this season will transpire. Do you have any? I've thrown you a bit of a curveball there, but
yeah, definitely. Thanks for the prep. I'm going to say Gold Coast to win this year. Yeah, I'm going to throw a curly one out there. I think they're always well organised down there, and I think they've addressed the areas they needed to. I think they're going to score enough goals anyway. And I think, who's the other one? I've got no idea who's going to get relegated from this league, and that's
that's great. That's great.
Isn't that wonderful?
I think previous years it's been like you know how the season's going to set out, and this year and the split in the ladder has helped that strengthen our top three women's leagues.
Yeah, it could go either way then. So just the one team goes down this year, just for the viewers at home wondering how this works, and then two come up from the FQPL 1. So maybe if we touch on that, do you have any ideas as to who you think the two might be from FQPL 1 that will be pushing for?
Yeah, sure. I think there's three clubs. I think there's City, Pride, and the last one, City, Pride, and Penthouse. Sorry, Alex. I'll probably be with that one, mate. They're probably the three that I think probably the best positioned, even looking at the table now. I think those three are battling for the two spots. I think getting to a league of 10 in the NPLW is great. Again, QAS can't go down from the NPLW, so it's going to be an interesting one. I don't think QAS are going to finish last. So I'll say that's love that. Yeah, I don't think they're going to be last, and I think they're really going to compete and challenge a lot of the clubs and throw a few curveballs in for some of those sides.
Yeah, a few shock results and, maybe
I
wake a
think
few
that's going
clubs
to
up.
be the season now, I really do, and I think that's just based on the strength of the competition now, which is fantastic.
Every weekend is going to be a tough game, so you can't, which is great.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to how this league is going to transpire. It's a
long league, so, you know, and with COVID, you're going to have to rely on your 23s and your depth and your squad. So important for teams to, make sure it is a squad, not just the bare 11 that you're putting out.
Yeah. Fantastic insight. Thanks for that. It was good to cover the league. And like I said, I'm really excited. I'm going to quickly cut to the fixtures there for this weekend. It actually starts with the Lions Olympic Lions at Lions Olympic, yeah. They're the home side this weekend. So that'll be a very interesting battle straight off the bat. Yeah. And Eastern Suburbs host South. So again, such a tight battle to come from that one there, from a team that really pushed late in the season last year and a team that was quite high up in the table.
Shout out to Liz in the Olympic game. I think she's helping on the bench. She's with the junior program. Liz Doherty, obviously.
Yeah, she is. She moved on to Taringa, so it's a bit of a loss for Olympic, but...
100%. Yeah. But yeah, we're very grateful that she's made that decision so she can commit to the junior part of the QAS program, and
that's fantastic,
doing a wonderful job in that space, I've got to say.
Yeah.
But I think she'll be on the Olympic bench this weekend to give them that little nudge towards
helping out Danny Bird, I hear. Yeah. Let's... The other matches as well. Moreton Bay host Sunny Coast Wanderers on the Friday night. There's that other Friday night game, as well as Capalaba, as you said, take on the QAS on the Sunday. So a couple of good matches there if you can get out and go and see them. Make sure you check in with the fixtures and the results on footballqueensland.com.au. And keep up to date with your teams and how they go. Now moving on to the Australia Cup results. Now obviously this is filmed on a Wednesday for those of you who don't know, so there are plenty of cracking games tonight. Southport against Western Pride, etc. So head to our Facebook and website for those results. We can't talk about those in any detail, but we can talk about the games that happened for us last night, Tuesday night. Some big results for our NPL sides. Peninsula Power went down to Surfers Paradise, beat them 9-0. Lions beat their former opponents in Brisbane Strikers 6-1. Olympic had a win over Albany Creek 6-0. Some massive results from some big NPL clubs that are really stating their intent in the cup competitions this year. Yeah, I reckon those clubs that got beat have all got to focus, and it's probably not on the Australia Cup. I think they're all very focused on getting that promotion, and I reckon the squads would probably reflect that. I haven't seen the squads, but I think based on the quality in those clubs, I think they might be just focused on the weekend and getting the 3 points rather than that league. Yeah, absolutely. How did you find in cup competitions last year where your focus sort of lied? Did you put a lot of focus into the Cap Women's Super Cup, or compared to the league, what was your main objective? Yeah, we wanted to win it all, so we went out there and tried our best. Having more games in the women's space was a great thing for us. So and last year was the first year for Kappa Women's Cup, so we decided to grab both hands and really run with it. So fortunately, it didn't work out that way. But when you have a powerhouse like Lions, oh well. Now the Kappa Women's Super Cup also have their rescheduled round 2 fixtures that get played Wednesday night as well. The feature match for that one is Albany Creek against Grange, so a bit of a local sort of grudge match there. They play each other in the league, so it'd be interesting to see how that goes on. You said the winner from that game plays QAS. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah. The NPL and FQPL sides come in from round 3. Stay tuned to the Football Queensland website for future details once they get locked in and those winners gets announced. So that'll be good. Also, moving up the state, the Kappa Women's Super Cup also had over last weekend Leichhardt hosting Edge Hill. Edge Hill went on to win 6-2 away from home, so that's a fantastic result from them. They actually go up against MA Olympic, in the inter-region qualifier there. So stay tuned for that one. We'll be likely to stream that, so that should be a cracking game. Tash, bit of some other business here, wearing your Matildas jersey there proudly. Yeah. Any particular reason for that?
Yeah, Matildas play on Friday. Got to support Australia. Playing up in Townsville, which is a good a good spot for them, I suppose. They haven't been in Queensland for a while.
Yeah.
Going outside of the metro area, which is also nice for those regional supporters out there. What about you? I see you're also wearing a...
Getting around the Barcelona kit this week. They actually set the record in the El Clasico Femen for women there, 91,000 at the new camp for normally a big game in the men's fixture, but proving as well that it can be a massive game in the women's space as well, which is unbelievable to see. So
great numbers. Great to see people getting around the women's sport. So, more eyes on the sport will progress. So exciting time, I suppose.
So make sure you tune into the Matildas game on Friday night as they take on the White Ferns from New Zealand. Kicks off at 7:30, I believe. So plenty of other people are trying to get to that game as well in Townsville. So, Dave, I know there are a lot of people in the TSP Carnivals trying to jet it back.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's going to be a mad rush, I reckon, on Friday lunchtime to get back up there. Obviously, the TSP event's on at the moment, and there's a lot of regional players down, and I think it's going really well over there from what I hear. It's always a fantastic event. I'm glad it's up and running this year. Last year we weren't able to because of the weather and other constraints, I guess. But it's a great carnival, and hopefully those people can get home and get to the Matildas game. Hopefully it's a sellout. Yeah, absolutely. And then also as well around state, we've got the FQ holiday clinics, the FQ Academy holiday clinics, which have all sold out, which has been a fantastic push from the technical department. So it's fantastic that we're able to offer those holiday programs to develop the skills of young kids and help the parents out over holidays. It's probably the biggest perk there for that one. Well, thank you to both of you for joining me on the show today. It was fantastic to have you, and great to have your insight into the NPL women's competition that starts this weekend. So thank you.
Thanks, Cal.
No worries. Make sure to get out to your local grounds this weekend or follow the streams on FQ TV. Fantastic to have your support. For all fixtures and information, any news at FQ, make sure you head to footballqueensland.com.au. I'm Cal. Thanks for joining in with me. It's been fun. Cheers.